It's time for the Matt Anderson Show. Committed to encouraging, uplifting, and inspiring a generation.
My message to you is to find, take back, and keep your righteous mind.
Hey y'all, what's going on? How you doing? I'm Matt Anderson. I'm excited because I got one of my favorite ladies in the entire world, my friend, my sister, my colleague, my confidant, the one and only Cheryl Jackson. What's up, sis? How you doing?
Hey, Matt. Good to be here, man. You know how we roll. So I'm excited that you asked me to come.
We're in a unique time. This is a time we've never seen before in our world. And I said, look, I got to talk to my sister Cheryl and see how she's navigating this thing, not only as a wife and a mother and a business person and someone in ministry and media, but I said, look, let me just reach out to her and find out just how she's doing. I think about one of the best seasons of my life was in our season in radio at Heaven 1580. We had some fun times back in the day. We had some good times back in the day. So what I want to do is talk about, not just that, but how do we get from there to here? So first off, what you doing these days? Besides, of course, being on Praise 104 and part of the whole Radio 1 family, what you doing these days?
Man, yeah, that's it. I'm doing radio still, media, and every opportunity that I have to allow my voice to be heard. I am a media rat, you know that. So I love anything in that vein. But of course, things have kind of shifted because I'm my mother's primary caregiver. So I came off a lot of ministry assignments and really have just focused on my career and her, family, 2 babies in college, married. I love my husband.
Man, that's my man. What's up, Dwight? How you doing, man?
Right. So family life is great. In that regard. So I kind of shifted focus. I was doing ministry on all levels in the Kojic Church, from international to regional to jurisdictional to local. Right. But I kind of pulled back on that. Dwight and I have been marriage advocates. So we've really focused on mentoring and helping couples, achieve their marital goals and, helping in that regard, just wanting to see healthy marriages, focusing on that. So we've been doing ministry together. That's been our ministry assignment. And then with a career opportunity, I'm syndicated.
Before we go into that, I want to kind of go back first so folks don't understand, so they can understand who we're talking about too. You're not just my friend, but you're a ministry professional, been in the business for 27, 28 years now, something like that. Because I know
30, can you believe it? This year's 30.
The 25th anniversary was just like yesterday. What happened?
Oh, yeah.
So 30-year veteran in the business. Now, Cheryl and I met in 97-ish, somewhere around there in Baltimore.
Yeah, exactly.
We were both working at Radio 1.
96, so 97, yep.
So we were both working at a radio station for Radio 1 in Baltimore. I was a production director, and she was a promotions director for even more than one station, wasn't it?
Yeah, let's go before that, because you were working for Magic before you became production director.
Oh, right.
You were working for Magic, and they gave me the opportunity to do Sunday Joy on Magic. Right. And so we were kind of like exchanging. Either you were coming on when I got off.
Wow.
I think you were coming on when I got off. And we kind of like would chat it up in between sessions. And then you came to Baltimore. It was like, oh my God, Matt's here. And then we, of course, because we knew each other.
But what's a trip about that? Because, at that season of my life, I was accepting my call to ministry during that period of time when Radio 1 purchased WKYS and everybody was let go. Then they rehired me at Magic. And like you talked about, you were doing the Sunday Morning Joy piece. So, of course, we kind of knew each other were believers. But leading up to that, I was doing like the hip hop show at KISS, but I was still a believer. And
that was such I was a babe in radio. So I would glean and you were from the beginning that guy that was like, oh, well, this is this and this is that. So if I had questions, you were always there. You were my first introduction to the Arbitron numbers and how we're viewed through Nielsen and that kind of thing. Because I would kind of like pull it because you was like, girl, your Sunday show is killing. I was like, well, what is it doing? Like what? How? So then we kind of like was that was our introduction, I think, as friends, because you would just be like, yeah, let me break it down for you. This is how many people listening. This is who's listening to you. This is how they listen. So
it's a bug out. It's a trip though, because we both kind of saw not just ministry but media and ministry kind of similar ways. I remember one of the things that really stuck out to me when we started working together in Baltimore was like, it was a couple different people there that we both were kind of ministering to directly and indirectly. And it wasn't until a while later we realized we were kind of overlapping with our prayers and our encouragement and our counseling, many unauthorized counseling with some of our colleagues there, that
Your
we realized
production studio became that, though. It was like the safe haven where people was just like, because it was your space, and it was like, while we were doing commercials, you were, opportunity to drop nuggets. And so if I had issue, I'd be like, I'd come in and shut the door and be like, Matt. So your production studio was that couch for us, I think.
That was some good times, and it's amazing. I was looking back at how much time has gone by since then, and so fast forward. Glenn Brooks was an account executive at the time. Glenn could sell anything. And so at the time he was leaving to go back to DC to work for WPGC AM, which was being flipped to a gospel station. And he was like, yo, man, come on down, apply for this job. I'm thinking, okay, I'm applying for a program director job. I'd never done it before, but I was like, I knew enough about it. I was passionate about my faith at that time. I was being called into ministry, had accepted my call to ministry, and was moving in. I think I'd been licensed by that time. And so when I knew this thing was beginning to happen, he said, man, I want you to not only, initially he was like, no, I want you to try to apply to be on air. Then it was like, be a program director. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll try. And so I got there and I was like, look, I got to take this sister with me. She gotta go. And I was like, look, Cheryl, you gotta be a part of this new thing. You are DC, you from DC, you from the street, from the pavement. We call it the soil back on the West. You from that soil. So I said, I got to have this sister here. And long story short, we ended up working together at Heaven 1580 and made history together, along with a number of other wonderful folks who served with us. And a lot of other stations around the country began to model themselves based on what we were doing there. And then eventually, when I left and I said, hey, Cheryl need to be the next program director. And you became the next program director at Heaven 1580, and years later became my boss when I went back to when I came back.
Because that's who we are.
Yeah, I love it. So what was your experience like at Heaven 1580? What are some of the key things that you remember?
Let me go back, because when we were at Radio One, that was my first opportunity with commercial radio. And I was just there. I was learning, and I have relationships with KB and you and those that really taught me this business in radio. On the gospel and Christian side, a lot of folk don't understand the business of radio, and that was our frustration, I think. So God positioned us to develop relationship to where we could take this skill set and passionately bring it to this little station that is what CBS would call us, at Heaven 1580. And I remember it clearly because I was working, this was before I was married. That's how come I know. Dwight and I got married in 96. So I know the whole PGC thing started in 97. I was a newlywed, and you was like, sis, I got this opportunity, but I ain't going without you. I need you to go with me. And I was honored because, when I was at Radio One, I worked as I worked 7 days a week, remember? Because I was promotions director for her AM properties, which was WL and Spirit 1400. And then I was music and assistant program director for Spirit 1400. But her AM stations also included WLDC, WLB Baltimore. So it was 3 AM stations I was promotions director for, but I was actually running the AM Spirit 1400, learning it and running it at the same time, because Jeff Majors, who was the program director, left to promote his first record on Music One, which was the label. So they offered me the programming position, but he never let go of the title. So I was like literally the APD, learning to run the station, rebuilding and branding the station, and promotions director at the same time. And then they added Sunday Joy onto to my responsibilities, which caused me to work 7 days a week. And I was making no money. Like I literally was just, probably 25 grand doing all of that stuff at that time. But I was so hungry to learn the business of radio on top of, me knowing that I was called to this format. So when you said I got this opportunity, and then you gave me options. You was like, you could do mornings and APD, or you could be MD and middays. And so then I was like, okay, well, wherever you need me the most. I was like, you know what? I'll do middays and be your music director. And of course, we ended up being APD and all of that, but just kind of being the right hand and building that station from the ground up gave me such a platform to learn the business of radio, the ministry aspect of things, the management piece, because we had to manage some people, and to develop that station. But not only that, but like you said, when you got that opportunity at Heaven 1580, he was like, I'm not doing this without you. So you got to come with me. This is what we have to offer. It was way more money than I was making, doing way more at Radio One. And just having the opportunity to build that station from the ground up with nothing. We just made something out of nothing. We made just a lot of money out of this little station that wasn't doing anything, right? And we were like, all we need is a signal. That station was bigger than life. And then when you had opportunity to do more television production, which was really your passion at the time, you were like, I love radio, but this is really what I want to do. I want to create content for this. So you took an opportunity to do television, and the company literally said, you said, to get out of your contract, you said, I will have Cheryl do it. And they was like, well, we're not going to allow you out of your contract unless Cheryl does it. And that was because you set that up for me to be program director for the station and continue on. We were the very first inspiration station ever.
When you deal with the whole prophetic piece, that I know that God's touched you in some areas, and myself as well. And I'm not talking about, you're going to get a new car, it's going to be red, not that kind of stuff. I'm talking about hearing the voice of God and sometimes seeing things before everybody else can see it. And I know it's frustrating because it was stuff we were talking about, and they used to look at us like we were out of our complete mind. I was just telling this story a couple of weeks ago to somebody. I said, I remember getting cussed out by Christians when we started playing gospel rap, gospel go-go. They were like, what? And I mean, cuss, move out. And I'm like, yo, they're rapping the Bible. It's literally quoting scripture, but it was the rhythm that people couldn't hear beyond. And a lot of times, it's even in the church. So we're trying to navigate both the corporate arena, who don't understand urban culture, let alone Christian culture. And then you got the Christian arena, who doesn't want to hear this new sound that was coming in. And then eventually years went by after all the hard work, the 12-hour days that we did, that eventually other stations around the country started modeling a lot of what God was doing through us in that time. Because a lot of folks don't know, you got a wonderful ear for music. What do you listen for when you hear songs and you say, you know what, that's a hit, that's going to resonate with this audience? What did you listen for?
I'm a creative. I wanted to be able to inspiration. My ideology, or what God gave me for inspiration, was to be able to showcase the various sounds of gospel music. That gospel wasn't one dimensional, which is why people in the business can't really grasp it, because if you're, in other formats, if you're R&B, it should sound like this. If you're hip hop, it should sound like this. When neo soul came in, they didn't know where to place that, because where does that sound? Oh, we'll just put it in the R&B category. But for gospel music, you have all of these creatives who have Christian lyrics that are biblically sound, that we can apply to our lives and know where to put it. So you had these awesome creatives like Dietrich at the time. Dietrich really attributes out, you actually adding him to the format that gave him the platform for other people to say, oh, PDC is playing it? Okay. And so he always attributed that. Israel was another one, because now you've got this whole praise and worship sound. Now everybody's church is doing it. But before, it was no place for Israel, right? Because I think Fred introduced that whole praise and worship sound through RFC when he was doing Pages of Life, and Israel was actually playing for him. But here Israel is his white, this
Can you
this
see
cat,
that?
right?
That's the birthday bash with Fred Hammond.
Oh my God. This birthday hat right there.
There goes Cheryl right there.
So I think that when you say what's the ear, I want to hear great production with sound lyrics, right? Great production, sound lyrics is, I think, the thing that would make me say yes to a particular song, or where I thought it was going to change culture, or where I thought it was going to be a hit and we would take a chance on it, and it really worked. So I think that's basically the bottom line. I want to hear biblical, even if it's life applications. I wanted to make sure, because you've got a lot of urban artists that will do inspirational songs that are biblically based, right? And that, they need a place for that to live. That will always be an album cut on the R&B side. But when it comes to, our format, we could create an opportunity for that artist because it's biblically sound and it's, the production is amazing. I had an issue with gimmicky stuff, like quartet music was great, but the gimmicks that some of these people did, that's why I think we love the Canton Spirituals, because they came with quartet, but the production was killer, right? It was like the production was killer. Bobby Watkins and his antics, it was like perfect for a hit. So I think
you might not know me, and I might not know you. But the both of us need to clean up.
When I hear that song today, I think of you saying that. I may not know you, and you may not.
See, don't take me back. See, I told you I was going to hit you up with some of the things we used to do on the show. Eventually, fast forward, you and I ended up doing a morning show together, we had a blast. We had so much fun. Folks would used to say, y'all sound like y'all really having a good time. No, we laughing for real. We used to really go in and do ministry together on there. And plus, my man Wayne Waller was an integral part of that as well. Yeah. We brought Wayne in. That was a whole nother level of ministry and fun. Let me ask you this. We used to do, Scripture Toss? That was your thing. Scripture Toss.
I forgot about that.
Question of the day. And what was the other one? Oh, Cinnabon.
Like a name that tune kind of
name
thing.
That tune and Cinnabon. Cinnabon bun.
I probably gained 20 pounds eating Cinnabons every time.
Every time I see Cinnabon, I think about you. I say, yeah, we used to love them Cinnabons, boy.
Been waiting to that carry out. I'll go put my brakes in. I'm gonna go get this.
Right.
Ooh, we used to have a good time. We made history with doing conferences and showing up at MegaFest. Doing big things that with no money. Like we had opportunities. Them Hotter Than Julys were historic. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Raising money for nonprofits and, $10,000 off a zero budget. Like, really? Like, give us 10,000 and we can make you 50. Like, you know what I mean? And we did. Mm-hmm. And we had like the who's who. And then people started modeling our Hotter Than Julys. Those were historic.
Fast forward to now. How are you navigating today's radio, media, Christian broadcasting landscape? I mean, how do you navigate that now? What is it like for you today? Being at Radio One, Radio One's grown so large now, and you find yourself on more than one station, reaching a much larger audience, plus reaching folks online.
It's a lot easier because it's more technological than anything. Like, I hate the fact that it's not live and in your face across the country. Like, everything is a send your break. I like to touch the board myself. I like to feel real time. I like to talk and connect with people, but that's not where radio's going, right? It's the whole digital age. It's the whole, XM's digital platform. Like, send me your message on my Instagram page and I'll talk about it on radio kind of situation. I'm kind of like that person that just want to touch and feel, but I don't want to be that person that's stuck in the past, right? I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, when we did it back in the day, it was. So you kind of want to grow with where technology is going. So I love learning new things. I'm always learning. I'm always, so I'm learning new ways to be live, new ways to make it creative, new ways to build and make people feel like I have this thing with radio that people feel like I'm their girl. Like in the younger generation, it calls me Auntie Cheryl, and those who are my age call me their sister, and they're, wherever I am, people feel like, oh, hey, Cheryl, hey, girl, and I want that feel across the board. So I love where we're going. The digital age of doing live on social media, the digital age of using our websites, platforms. I love being able to be creative. I've never been that technical production girl, where it comes to Adobe and doing the things. That was your lane. That's what you love to do.
Still is. Y'all are gadgets. I'm a gadget guy. I'm a gadget geek.
That's why we were a great pair, because I was great with content, providing content and that kind of thing. And I'm still that person, but I'm always learning. Like I'm always a programmer. So even in the seat of as a talent, I'm thinking as a programmer, like how can I create this platform for people to still feel like I'm there. I'm right there with you. I'm that touch, that girl you could touch. I'm in 2 markets in Ohio. I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Houston. I'm in all these other markets, but I want them to feel like I'm still their girl. So my delivery comes off at that, but I'm really hungry about learning the technology of making it feel like it's live. So I'm not going to be the syndicated girl that's just throwing their breaks in.